couple of months ago, the United States Senate passed something called the CHIPS and Science Act. It would put in $57.2 billion into developing an American domestic chip manufacturing industry to bring down high levels of dependencies on countries and companies like Taiwan or the Taiwanese Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Today, we're going to answer all your questions about the CHIPS Act, including what will it do, why was it created, is it worth it, and will it be effective in creating a homegrown chip manufacturing industry in the United States? Let's find out in this episode of Not in a Book. According to the White House, the CHIPS Act will revitalize domestic manufacturing, create good-paying American jobs, strengthen American supply chains, and accelerate the industries of the future. This seems like a tall claim to me, honestly. Not only that, they say they'll counter China with this act. You may be thinking, what? Well, if you watched our video about Taiwan, you probably know a little bit about it already, but we'll just give you a brief overview about it. Taiwan is home to TSMC, which manufactures about 54% of all the world's chips and 90% of all the world's most advanced chips. Therefore, if China were to ever invade Taiwan, China could possibly get access to all of TSMC's equipment, human resources, data, and basically everything else TSMC owns. Because of this, America made the CHIPS and Science Act to bring down reliance on foreign nations and companies such as TSMC. Also, the chips market is expected to increase by 16.3% this year, the second year of double-digit growth. Plus, ASML estimates that currently there are 40 billion connected devices in the world right now, and that's expected to increase to 350 billion by 2030. That's some serious statistics, and the US does not want to be left out of that. Anyways, go check out our Taiwan video for more information. Link down in the description. Anyways, let's talk about some facts now. Companies have announced about $50 billion of investments into the United States chip manufacturing industry. This includes MacLeod, which will invest $40 billion into memory chip manufacturing, and Qualcomm, who will invest $4.2 billion into the US market. The thought process is basically the new generation of technology is all about semiconductors. If we can't manufacture our own semiconductors, that'll create a dependency, which America obviously does not want. Now, let's get into how they're going to make sure the money is used wisely. According to the White House, there are two ways they're going to do this. First, they're going to have coordinated permitting for high-tech manufacturing, and President's Counselor of Advisors on Science and Technology will release new recommendations on semiconductor R&D. So basically, multiple groups will work together to help manufacturers spend the money wisely and provide recommendations on what should be invested where and how much should be invested and whatnot like that. I'm sure you get what I mean. Read the White House's report if you want to know more. Link in the description. The CHIPS Act will devote the following amounts of money to the following things. $39 billion in financial assistance to build new fabs, another $11 billion in government and private chips research and development collaborations, $200 million in helping companies hire employees for chip fabs and or other related jobs, $2 billion for the Department of Defense and other military agencies, $500 million invested into America's International Technology, Security, and Innovation Fund. Finally, the CHIPS Act would invest $1.5 billion into the U.S. broadband mobile market for so-called leap-ahead technologies. Now, so far, this video focuses on chips. In fact, most of this video focuses on chips. But the CHIPS Act is not just the CHIPS Act. It's the CHIPS and Science Act. Let's talk about the greatest R&D investment in United States history. On screen, you see a table of investments that this act makes. Obviously, it's huge, with hundreds of billions of dollars invested. If we go into detail about what each investment is about, this video would be way too long. So we'll just list some of the important investments. Alright, here's the list. Invest in strategic translational science, grow basic research, build a STEM workforce, building broad-based research opportunities, expanding rural STEM education, build regional innovation, support critical technology research and standards, strengthen small manufacturers, combat supply chain disruption, grow manufacturing in the USA, promote competitiveness in international standards, authorizing the Artemis Moon Program, scientific computing, nuclear physics, and much more. Check the sources for more information. The entire point of the CHIPS Act is to control China and transfer production of advanced chips used by the United States into the domestic US market. So how will the US make sure the companies don't use this money to invest into the Chinese market or other apparent sources of concern? In the Act, it states, to ensure the manufacturing incentives advance U.S. technology leadership and supply chain security, the Act would require recipients of federal financial assistance to join an agreement prohibiting certain material expansions of semiconductor manufacturing in the People's Republic of China or in other countries of concern. To make sure that the agreement is not violated, companies may be required to hand over records and documents to the DOC so that they can make sure that the manufacturing is not taken to areas of concern. Now let's ask the most important question. Will it be worth it? The short answer is yes, probably. We don't know anything for sure, of course, but we can go over some of the predictions. The CHIPS Act is predicted to preserve or create around 513,000 jobs over the next 4 years. Even if this is inflated by, say, 10%, that would still equal 460,000 plus jobs. Over the next 4 years, the US GDP is expected to grow by over $62 billion with an investment of $57 billion, and it's expected to rise after that. In conclusion, the report by the USICA writes, our analysis indicates that the CHIPS Act appropriations contained in the USICA constitute one of this important bill's most impactful sets of provisions. We find that they may create or preserve over 500,000 jobs over the next half-decade and would contribute more than $60 billion to U.S. GDP. In light of the worker protections contained in the legislation, we also expect that the jobs directly created by this influx of federal spending would mostly be the sort of well-paid good jobs. In conclusion, the CHIPS and Science Act is something that will make and preserve more jobs, stimulate the economy, address issues and risks in the advanced chips manufacturing supply chain of the United States, and much more. It's worth it, giving back to the US a lot more than it's investing. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Over 60% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So please just click that subscribe button. It's free and